Good day, potential viewers. This is a Chivalry little tutorial thing that I'm making to try and address a few things that I feel like a lot of people could learn. I'm making this mainly for a friend of mine who is having trouble dealing with a few certain types of playstyles. The things I want to address in this video mainly would be alternate attacks, baiting your enemy, taking advantage of openings, and adapting your playstyle to anyone you might face. Okay, so here's an example of taking advantage of an opening. As you can see, this guy swings much too early, and so I just step up and whack him with a few hits from the mace before he can even really react to it. Now, unfortunately, I get a little too aggressive here, and he takes advantage of that as well. I leave myself open. So I decide to back off and wait for him. We trade blows for a few times, and once again, I just back off, wait for him to leave himself open. I missed that time, unfortunately, but I put the shield away because he was kind of obscuring my vision a bit. There we go. Wait for him. And absolutely rocked his world. So here I am again, waiting for him to just go ahead and swing. He leaves himself wide open. I'm able to get one hit in. Then I start getting sloppy. I take a few hits. I decide to back off, let him miss those swings. There we go, just missing a ton again. And there I just waited for him. Jumped on the first opening I could find. And it worked. Now this next guy gave me a lot of trouble the first few times I fought him. And I'm leaving this in because it's a good demonstration of what I mean by adapting your playstyle. If something's not working against an enemy, you can't keep doing it. You gotta switch it up a bit. See, this guy learns to take advantage of the length of his weapon and also the fact that I'm turtling behind the shield. He does a kick, which opens me wide open. That was redundant. So I switched to the longsword instead of the mace to try and keep a range going. But he turns out to be a really shifty motherfucker. He always keeps on the move. And you see what he did there. He kind of did a hit and run. He ran away afterwards, expecting me to give chase, so he turned around swinging. And see, he's doing it again. He's expecting me to follow him, but this time, unfortunately, I tried to swing when I really should have blocked. That's my error. So this is me fighting the same guy again later in the game, and see how my playstyle has changed. So observe here, what I did was I kept backing up, and predicting his aggressive nature, I thought he would go in swinging, so I backed up until I thought, you know, he was a moment away from swinging, and that's when I stepped forward, stepped to his right side, and swung at his side. And he ended up rushing past me, kind of like a matador and the bull and everything. And so I was able to hit him from behind, and we kind of parlayed and traded a couple hits there for a second. And in the end, I think I kind of lucked out. I won almost out of sheer luck because I think it was because I was a bit lower on the hill than he was, so my hit landed first. So see, this time he plays a little smarter. He's learning too. He knows not to just rush straight at me like he did last time. I still basically tried the same trick, using the stairs to my advantage, but he dodged the first one. I comboed, which he parried. I luckily managed to parry that, countered into a combo, which fucking rocked him. And he seemed to get really confused there. He had no idea where I was, so I just kind of ganked him in the back. And I'll just show it again in real time. Now there is something I really want to draw attention to, so watch this. Notice when I parry this hit, his weapon is practically like straight through me. I think it's sheer luck I managed to parry this, but this is pretty much the fatal flaw that facehuggers tend to exploit, is the fact that both the character and the weapon seem to clip through your screen to where you can't even see it. And that's what makes it so hard to parry them. Now we both remember this guy from earlier. He was a guy using a poleaxe. I just kind of rocked with a mace. So you see, I put the shield away, expecting him to do this, pretty much do the same thing. But I only managed to hit him about once, and I just kind of fucked it up from there. He plays a bit smarter than he did last time. I panic a little bit, and my head comes off. So once again, adapt and overcome. I take out the long sword instead, and so I just sidestep again and swat him as he rushes past. All I'm doing is using good footwork and using his aggressive nature against him. Now hang on just a minute and tell me if you saw that. You see how he hit me here? It's almost like he hit me with a pommel of his weapon, because I took damage while his weapon was still back over his shoulder. I don't know if this is a glitch or some kind of just really weird game mechanic. It could also just easily be lag, but if it's really just an animation problem or a glitch, then it's something that needs to be worked out, because there would have basically been no chance of me parrying that. Okay, so here I play stupid, I get too aggressive, I let him hit me, and so I decide to just back off and reorient myself. Once again, I see him charging, I use his aggression and his momentum against him, and sideswipe him, basically. The main thing I'm taking advantage of here is the timing and position of my swing. I do the right to left swing because he's on my right side, and it hits him before he can really respond to it. Then I follow it up with that stab combo. And here's a different circumstance of using his aggression against him. See, he swings much too early, and I swing just about half a second later, and stepping forward at the right time to make sure his swing doesn't hit me, but mine, being about half a second delayed, is able to hit him. Now here I get a little reckless and I trade a hit with him, but trading hits is not always a bad thing in a duel, since you only have to fight one person. I followed this up with a combo, but the stab missed, which coaxed him into blocking, and I was able to follow it up with another combo, which he was not able to react to because he was still at the end of his original parry animation. I also hit him from behind. But you can see this is a good demonstration of the value of actually missing the first attack, or basically the first attack of a combo, and then following up with a second one, because he'll still be reacting to the first one expecting to parry it and then counter or whatever he's planning to do. And while this one may have been a lucky shot, it's just another demonstration of using his aggression and momentum against him, stepping to the side of his stab while I basically swing at the same time and I'm able to hit him. And then he plays stupid and I just jump in for the killing blow. And remember, this is the guy who just a couple rounds ago completely kicked my ass, and only by changing my playstyle and adapting to his techniques was I able to beat him. So it's absolutely paramount that you read your enemy, learn how he plays, and adjust your own style to beat him. Now here's one of the types of enemies my friend complained about the most, which is a fast class with a really fast weapon. This is a man-at-arms with a dagger, and the main techniques I used to beat him were taking advantage of the range of my weapon and also baiting him into attacking me by intentionally missing one attack and following it up with another. Now he did manage to hit me once with that dagger, but the thing with the dagger is it's so short that he pretty much has to be in your face. So as long as you keep moving away from him, he'll pretty much never be within range to hit you. I understand this can be difficult though, because you back up slower than he moves towards you, so sometimes it might be smart to turn around and get away and just keep the range constant between you. Now here I use the same baiting technique, but for some reason this guy is very intent on trying to kick me off the mountain, and it does make me panic a bit, so he is able to score a few hits, but in the end, yours truly is victorious. Now here's the same incident again with this guy hitting me with what appears to be the pommel of his weapon. I just wanted to show this again to show that it is something that can be replicated and could be like a serious problem. And here's an example of the consequences of playing stupid and playing too aggressively. Okay, so here we got another case of the shifty man-at-arms. And I try to bait him a few times, but he doesn't quite fall for it. The main trick that wins this match for me is just maintaining the distance and using the range of my weapon to its full extent. And here's a beautiful example of how well this baiting technique can work. He actually fell for it this time, and in fact, It worked so unexpectedly well that I didn't even follow it up. I didn't expect it to work. Okay, and for this entire round I tried the beard axe, which really is not my favorite weapon. But I tried to mix it up just to demonstrate as much variation as possible. I tried to kick him for some reason. That really is not an effective technique against someone who doesn't use a shield. And you see there, I take advantage of his aggression. Just like I've told you many times before, when he attacks that far out of range, you just gotta attack half a second later and follow it up. And here's a good demonstration of why you really have to time your parries instead of just putting it to chance. Because if you block too early, it's just not gonna work. And here I do something bold that I really don't recommend. Do not try to switch your weapon when you're so close to the enemy. I barely managed to get that block in time, but it worked. Basically what was happening was I was struggling too much with the slow speed of that axe, so I switched to the Norse sword, which is much faster. Like I said, just always adapt when you're at an impasse. Okay, hang on, what the fuck is this? That kind of glitchy animation gets me screwed way, way, way too often. Anyway, here's another example of how intentionally missing one swing can really help you out. And if you play it smart, you can actually choose the right moment to be really aggressive. And a demonstration why it's a bad idea to switch weapons in the middle of a duel. Now, if you're facing an enemy who's really good at parrying, it's not a good idea to try and keep attacking him from the front. If he can parry and counterattack really well, he'll kick your ass in a matter of moments. So the main thing you gotta try to do is to flank him and try and hit him from the side in order to get around his parry. And while my baiting trick doesn't work the way I expected here, it did cause him to block too soon. And here I use an alternative attack to hit him quickly and hit him from the side so he can't parry it effectively. And here I misjudged the swing speed of my enemy's weapon and the speed at which he can close the distance, so I don't parry and it gets me hit. And here I just use a very common technique where looking at his feet while doing an overhead attack makes the attack hit him much sooner. Now that's a move I really hate. That stupid jump stab always gets over your parry. You gotta be watching out for that. Now, some might call this spamming, but in reality it's just using the advantages of a faster weapon. If your opponent just has really poor reactions, then it can really be a huge advantage to you. Now, if you're going to be a shield user, the kicks are what you really got to watch out for. Those can break your guard and stun you for a long time if you're hit with your shield up. See, he tried to feint me out and then follow it up with a kick, but I was aware, I saw the feint, and I made sure to put my shield down in time. Now, some techniques require training to the point of it becoming a real reflex, so it definitely takes a lot of practice. And in this little dance with this guy I had here, the main thing I was trying to do was utilize the length of my weapon as opposed to the short reach of his. And like earlier, I was also trying to get around his side and flank him to get my hits past his shield. For the most part, getting past his shield didn't work, but I was able to use his aggression against him. Every time he tried to attack, I was working through a combo and was able to hit him first. Now, I don't know what it is about that stupid Warhammer, but it seems extremely difficult to block, either through a parry and its uncanny ability to get around shields. I don't know how to explain it. It could be just some bad balancing or who knows what, but it remains one of the most overpowered weapons in my opinion. here's a really bad fucking glitch that absolutely I cannot explain. Other than a really cheap glitch, the only thing I can imagine is a really, really bad lag spike that happened for about half a second there. Now, a veteran user of the Man-at-Arms class will make full use of the dodge move, as well as their longer primary weapons, such as a Norse sword. So you have to maintain distance, as well as keep in mind the length of their weapons when you try to use the baiting techniques, as I've showed you before. Here we see I fall prey to a few misjudgments in how long his weapon can reach. I also try baiting him when he's already too close and he's just too quick on the draw, where I cannot follow up and hit him before he manages to hit me. He also tries to pull another trick that has become increasingly common, which is to try and duck under the horizontal blows, so it's not always a bad idea to kind of aim low, although you may run into the people who have a tendency to jump over it instead. And here's just a simple example of being proactive with combo attacks. And in this little tussle, footwork and mobility are the key. Now in this little circumstance, me and this little fellow here were both acting a little too passive, and I just got the sense of when being aggressive would have served me the best. Now until this point, I've mostly been talking about how it's a good idea to use the longer reach of your weapon against your enemy. But here, I demonstrate a little bit of when it's important to keep in mind when your weapon is shorter than his. You have to be a little more aggressive when he's within range, but if he's not, you have to stay on the defensive until you can close the gap. Do not attack too soon, it will get you killed. Once again, this either seems like a glitch or just a really cheap exploit, and a lot of players seem to try and use this trick. If I didn't have a shield, there's no way I would have been able to block that. It was simply much too quick. Anyway, with this fight, I continue the theme of remaining defensive as long as when your weapon is shorter than his, and just don't bother attacking until you're absolutely close enough to hit him. Now at the end there, I did deliberately trade hits with him. I was willing to take the blow because I knew as long as I was able to land mine, I would kill him. Now at first I thought this was a really cheap glitch or exploit or something. Then I realized what it was actually a very effective feint. He did an alternative attack that was coming in from the left. He feinted it and came back in from the right, so I was blocking from the wrong direction. That was very well done by this fellow. Now if you're facing an enemy who likes to duck behind a shield a lot every time you block his attacks, it can be very hard to try and hit him. Getting past his shield is not always so simple, so the best thing to do is use the kick or the shield bash in anticipation of him trying to block. If he's really predictable, then it's very easy to beat him this way. Alright, this one's on me, but this felt very cheap. You see there's a very delayed hit with that stab. I don't know if it's lag or just really wide hitbox window, but considering the animation ends much sooner than I hit him, I don't think that was fair. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems like some kind of shenanigans to me. There's no reason this guy should be able to counterattack so quick when he's using a long sword. So it just seems kind of sketchy to me, you know? Now here, this guy uses a smart technique that I honestly am having a lot of trouble trying to get used to, which is if he knows his attack is not going to land before mine, he will feint it just so he has time to cancel it and parry. That's a good strategy to avoid getting hit if you just know that your attack is not going to make your enemy flinch, you know? Okay, so I feel like that's basically gotten across all the points I really wanted to make. So for the rest of this video, I'm just going to include a bunch of clips of my techniques being put to work in the way that they should be. without any commentary, so you can just see them and watch without distractions. So enjoy, and I hope you learned something.